let me start off. Is everyone still good?
I am.
Okay. I'm going to open this up with a prayer. Is that okay?
Of course. Yes. Thanks.
All right. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we're grateful to meet together as a group. Help us to interact and learn from each other's insights. We're grateful that we're all able to adjust our schedules and meet together. Let's say it's in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thanks.
No problem. So in this case, I got like a double phone for you guys. I have like an echo. You have that too?
I just turned my microphone off. See if it's better.
Is that okay? Okay. Well, sorry about that. I'm just going to do a little synopsis. Thomas Green was just promoted to become a marketing manager. Thomas Green is very motivated. Green wants to climb the corporate ladder. Green's boss, the guy's name is McDonald, is trying to fire Green. Green has thought about potentially quitting because of the criticism towards him. Green has not adjusted to his new role. He wants to work exactly like when he was in sales. He struggles with analytics and relies on his ability as a smooth talker. Green does not believe in his boss's projections and forecasting. He called out his boss during one of the meetings, despite him not having any stats to go with it. He said his forecasts were off just by his experience in his last sales position. Green and his boss are feuding and are not addressing the issue with each other. Green is worried that he may be fired and he potentially could quit. So that's kind of an overview. Did I miss anything? Kind of just overview from the case.
So I think that Green he doesn't respond to his boss. He thinks he should just be able to do it on his own. And you've kind of said on his own instincts type of thing, but he won't report back to his boss. He's not listening to what his boss says is important.
I think that's one of the biggest deals in this case is Green not adjusting to his new role. He's no longer kind of in sales. It's kind of like a lone wolf kind of situation where you're kind of by yourself trying to get your own projections. But when you get into management, you need to report, and probably especially marketing, you need to communicate. It seems like Green really struggles with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll start at the first bullet, and we'll kind of just work down kind of what kind of insights we have. And I don't know if is it just you and me in this?
Well, Fernanda's there, but she might be somewhere. Is that right, Fernanda? So it might be hard for her to get on and actually talk. But I don't know, Fernanda, if you can see the chat, if you're using your phone or not, or what you can do. But we don't want to leave you out.
And I guess if
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. All right. I guess I'll start the first. We kind of touched about it. What do you see as the key issue in the case? I think we both agree it's kind of a communication and not adjusting. Any other insights on that?
Yes, I agree on communication. Maybe another is because Davis was previously worked on that position, so he knows how the job should be done. So maybe there is a difference in work styles or something like that.
I think that's true, but he also could be just that he wants it done his way, and that's not always necessary. The other thing is, you know, I'm sure that he is maybe paying more attention to Green because he's not the one that got to hire him. He just got given him and needed to make it work.
I think those are very good key issues. I think as we go on through all these questions, we'll dig deeper into it. For this next question, I personally would not have. Oh, if you were Shannon McDonald, would you have hired Thomas Green? Why or why not? I probably would not have hired Thomas Green because he didn't go through the normal chain of progression. The position he's in now is in marketing, and it usually takes people, I think the article said, many years for them to progress through marketing to get his position, and he just knows sales. So I probably would have been a little more cautious hiring Thomas Green, even though he had a lot of upside and go-getter. I just don't think he had the experience in marketing. Do you guys have any insights on that?
Well, I tend to be the kind of person that likes to give someone a chance. And so I might have hired him, but I think where she fell short is she did not ever really classify those difference in expectations like you had talked about. When you're in marketing, you're going to have to report more and differently. And so maybe there just wasn't a clear understanding as she said, hey, I would like to have you do this job. Maybe there wasn't a clarification of what that's going to require.
I really liked your insight on that. I think that she could have groomed him more, more expectations. Hey, every Friday, I want the reports. I want the graphs. Anytime you go somewhere, just give me a little recap of what's going on. Like when he went to Florida and then decided to go home early one day or go to another lead. She had no idea what was going on. So I think she could have groomed him a little more and just kind of set up the expectations for the marketing knowledge.
Yes, I think Green is I suppose a nice guy, but he has no experience, and that position was a new experience with different responsibilities and goals, and probably he didn't understand his role or position in that team.
No, I totally agree with that. Can someone describe to me who Frank Davis is and kind of what kind of his value system is?
His value system. I think maybe I took it from him. So I took it from him that maybe he wants it done as a team, or at least I think there is some micromanaging going on his part. Not that you shouldn't report back. I mean, you shouldn't leave somewhere when you're traveling for work without somebody knowing about it, especially your direct boss, right?
Right.
But I think there is some other micromanaging that in the story, it actually didn't say he ever talked with Green about those things. Just in his email sent it, they'd already talked about it. So assuming that he did talk to him about it, I don't know. Maybe he's not a micromanager.
That's what I thought was a little odd, is that he was so worried about his Outlook calendar.
Yeah.
And they didn't really, say they set up a meeting or anything. It just talked about emails. So I was kind of concerned about that also. But it just seemed like they were just kind of going after each other. And it's hard to work when someone's micromanaging every step you do, every schedule in your calendar. But then again, maybe he wasn't using his calendar, and maybe that was a corporate policy. I don't know if we have enough info on that.
I think that Frank is a very formal guy, so he likes to follow the plan. Or maybe the plan or schedules, but Thomas is the opposite, so there is a contradiction. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I think so too. So what do you guys think? I think we all know who Thomas Green is and kind of his values, but what do you think the difference between the end goal for Davis and for Green?
I don't think, okay, so this is my thought. I think Davis remember, is also new to his job. And so you got a couple of green people going on here, right?
Right.
But I don't, in my opinion, I couldn't see where Frank Davis clearly said what he wanted. Like, I know that they wrote down things, but I don't think he ever took Green aside and said, this is our plan. I think he just made, this is what you need to catch up to. I remember with other people in the past trying to manage them and saying, you know, here's what's going on in the situation, and their side is always going to be different, you know, and it always is going to come back, well, I said something or I did something, right? As if they weren't wrong. And so, but the point is they would always miss telling them up front. It would always be a, you did something wrong. Instead of a upfront, here's what I expect. I need you to report this. I need you to report. I think Davis has missed a lot of the boat.
No, I think so too. And then I thought it was interesting the email that he sent to McDonald's about the meeting that they or the email they had. I think it was Exhibit 3. And it just says that Thomas Green will that he fails to inform him on his plans. He does not follow up, and that and then the third thing is that Thomas lacks enthusiasm. Which, I mean, through the whole article, I didn't think that. I thought Thomas Green was a go-getter, so I thought that was kind of odd. I thought Green was interested in his job. So I don't know where he got that from, but he just said that he's found numerous incidences of poor judgment and questionable behavior. I think this is just kind of an odd email to send to the boss when this guy's a new at the position. I think this could have been probably handled a little differently. All right, I guess we'll move to the next section. Okay. How do you think the actions of Green differ from the expectations that Frank Davis?
I think we talked about that just a little. I think Frank expects like very close, here's exactly what I'm doing, go out and come back and report. And, you know, Thomas Green, he's like, let me just go do my job. You know, let me go figure out how to make it in the end. I don't think he's correct, but I think that that's his style.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, in my mind, I just see that Thomas Green is an extrovert, you know what I mean? And then Davis is kind of an introvert, kind of in the details, in his office, kind of cranking numbers. And then Green is just out, you know, with customers, talking with them. So I just think their actions are just so different because they're just different people, which I think it's good to have people that are different. It's just too bad they couldn't use their differences to, you know, improve the situation. And I think they kind of frustrated each other on their differences because of lack of communication and expectations. Going off that, who do you think is at fault for the current situation and this feud?
Okay, my thing in the long run, I think it's Davis's fault. And the reason behind that is he is actually the boss, and he should put forth those expectations. I think I would imagine he probably does want to get rid of Green, but on the other hand, unless he specifically had someone in mind for that job, he may not specifically want to get rid of him. He probably just is doing a little spiteful stuff, having been gone, you know, around to fill that position. But I think to me, it reminds me of an adult and a kid situation. Yeah. Regardless of what the kid did and they were wrong or whatever, you're still the adult and you still need to handle it appropriately.
I think you're dead on. If green was there for 10 years and this was going on, then I'd be like, okay, this is a green issue. But I believe this has happened like the first 3 months or the first year. I think it takes any position about 1 year to kind of figure it out. And especially, it seems like at the senior management level, there's going to be a long learning curve to it. So I think the overreaction of Frank Davis emailing McDonald instead of handling it himself seems like he's almost tattling on Green to McDonald. This is the guy you hired, so this is all the incorrect decisions he's made. He keeps doing this, he keeps doing this, instead of trying to fix it with Green. All right. What actions would you guys take if you were Green? What would you do?
So me, I mean, it's still, in order for him to save his job, he really does have to take a look at what he's going to do to save it. So he can be the initiator of going back and saying, all right, let's get on track. Here's what I see. I can report this way. I mean, he can look at all those things he said he's being out of line on and say, this is what I can do. If I did it this way, would it be good enough? I mean, he can initiate the fix of this relationship.
Yeah. Are there any other thoughts out there?
For me, I will talk with Davis to let her know my goals or expectations. Maybe I would also like to hear what he expects from me, because from what I have read, Davis and Green are completely different. Their personalities are different, so they can agree on something because they have different expectations and goals. So I will do that.
Yeah, I really like that.
And maybe.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Oh, sorry. And maybe I will encourage him to provide feedback to me, because I don't think that Davis is providing good feedback.
Yeah, I really like what you guys said. I think going along with the goals, I'd almost set up some short-term goals. Like every day I'm going to update my Outlook calendar. Every day, end of day, I'm going to send a report of what I did, kind of what Davis wanted. And the long-term goal of Davis giving him feedback weekly on how Green's doing. Just kind of set up some little goals to see if they can improve. Just kind of have more of a plan and communicate. Okay, well, let's move to the next.
So I don't know for sure what the next questions are. Do they go on to responding to the Shannon McDonald? Because that's kind of at the point that it's at, right? So Green needs to respond. So I suppose if I were Green and needing, what would I do? I would respond and say, I'm on board to make this work out, and even if you want to meet together, all three of us, let's meet together and come up with a plan that we're all on the same path.
Right, because McDonald saw something in Green that she thought would add to the team. It's just getting Davis on board and then getting Green to adjust to that position. I think that's a good insight. All right, have you guys ever seen power and office politics come into play, or just in general? Do you think that happens at work?
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Do you have any insights on that?
Well, my best tool was always to make the person seem like I was asking them what they thought we should do. But in the same sentence, it was like, here's some thoughts I came up with. But, it's kind of like how I get the men in my life to do stuff for me. I let it seem like it's their idea.
Oh, definitely. There's definitely a way to, you know, the power and the politics. You know, I work with a bunch of guys, and all they do is drop off packages at doorsteps. But there's definitely politics in it, because certain guys with more power or more seniority can take less work or control their day more. So I think for certain jobs there can be a power struggle, and then whoever's making the decision, like the manager, like in this case, McDonald liked Green, so she promoted him even though it wasn't the natural progression. So I think there's definitely a power in office politics in real life. Are there any insights on that?
I was in the presentation. I learned that
I can't quite understand you.
But they just have it. So I think that my responsibility maybe suggestion from his leader, but were in this case. So I don't know.
Okay, I'm so sorry. It's kind of cutting out on my end. I couldn't hear too much of that. Sorry about that. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. It looks like we've lost Fernanda.
Oh no. Hopefully she can join us back.
Right. Yeah.
I guess we'll keep moving on if she comes back. I guess you want to do alternate questions to start.
Sure.
I'll have you do the first one. I don't understand this next one. Oh, what are Green and McDonald's conflict styles?
You know, did we learn specific conflict styles? I mean, I remember the like management styles.
I didn't learn that. That's why I was kind of confused about it, because I don't remember conflict styles.
I mean, if we just said what we think they're doing without it being an official class that we're supposed to learn, you know, I think that Green has the avoidance, let me get the job done my way, I'll perform well, and I think Davis is, I think he is kind of a micromanager.
Oh, he definitely is a micromanager. I almost thought it was almost passive aggressive that he emailed McDonald's without really resolving it with Green. That I don't know. It just seems he would go to Green right away. In every incident, talk about it instead of just having a group of several incidences that happened. I think the first time he stepped out of line, I would talk to him and not just wait for a build-up to happen, because then Green would be frustrated not knowing he was doing it wrong for 3 months.
Yeah. Fernanda, can you hear us okay again?
Sorry, my internet connection is really bad here.
Hey, no worries. Do you want to do the next question? So I don't know if I think we already covered what should he do. How about you do the question, how do you think Green can salvage the situation?
Maybe, I mean, Green has somewhat fault for what he is doing wrong, and I will try to follow what the boss suggests him, but I will also try to like meet with the boss and say like, okay, I know I know your position, so I know your opinion and suggestions, but we cannot work like we are from different companies. So I will meet with him. I will try to let him know, like, I don't know, my expectations, my ideas. And I think the main problem was because the forecasting. So I will work together to find a solution that will benefit both Davis, me, and the company also.
I think those are really good insights. I think the forecasting was definitely a big deal. I just think you know, Green needs to get his data in line. He needs to be able to create graphs and be able to statistically prove his thoughts, and not just say, "Oh, I have experience in the field." But I do like your insights on, he needs to adjust and to communicate, and then also let Davis know his expectations, and just kind of that Davis needs to be aware of what's going on with Green. Are there any other insights on that question? All right. If not, we'll move to the next one. Do you think there can be that they can repair this relationship, or do you think they're just so sour that the relationship's over and either Green's got to go, or Davis? I don't know what Davis would do, but I guess fire Green. Do you think they can repair this relationship, or do you think it's over?
I think that yes, they can repair the situation, but they need to be honest and they need to recognize that there's a problem. Maybe it's not related to work or it's a personal problem, but they need to recognize that. So then, if they recognize they have a problem, they can set goals or work together to find a solution to the problem. But I think that yes, it is possible if Davis and Green wants to do it. But if maybe Green said, okay, I want to work along with you in a good environment, but the other doesn't want, so there is a problem.
Yeah, I don't know if I missed it in the case or not, but I don't think I don't know, the problems don't seem that severe. I think they're fairly easy to fix. I think just communicating, um, and then communicating to Davis, and then Green needs to come up with you know graphs and stats. But I think this is definitely repairable. Um, so
I agree. I think it's repairable. And kind of a backside look, it's almost good that McDonald's involved, because realistically, some of it does have to be settled with her, in just saying, is this going to stay? Is this going to happen? There is the expectation of Davis making it work. And I think that McDonald needs to make that clear to Davis, like realistically, why is this not working out? If I was McDonald, I would ask more questions why this star player is not excelling at the new job.
I think that's a really good point we haven't even touched on, is the involvement of McDonald, and that she can basically solve this, and she has that that power over Davis and Green to make a change, and that she can say, hey, David, it's kind of petty that he has to update his calendar 5 times a day. He does not need to do that. Maybe give you an outline of what he did, but she can come in and just give the final say of what needs to happen. So I think that's a really good point that you brought up. All right, we're going to do the application and connections part. How do you guys feel that managing up can be applied to work?
I think we talked just a little bit about that, right? When we were talking about how could Green kind of repair this. You know, he can be presenting it in a certain way to Davis to make it come around to work out.
Yeah, I think involving McDonald and also just giving some insight to Davis saying, hey, through also, you know, can you help me with this, or you know, how do you want your PowerPoints or your graphs? Can you show me exactly what you need? I think Green, you know, needs to manage up also. What are the principles of power within an organizational structure? Do you think it should be top down, where McDonald should have the ultimate power and just kind of say it her way, or do you think there should be, you know, kind of power with each level? What do you guys think?
I mean, I like when a manager, like, I think you can tell the difference that they step in and say, we are moving this direction. But I'd like it also when it's like not just them that says how that's going to happen. But I like to know their vision. Like, what do you want in the end? Am I wrong? Am I doing this wrong? Tell me, you know, but tell me when it's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. I like your thoughts there. It needs to be that balance of, you know, the manager saying, this is how it is, we're moving forward. And then also having times where he lets the other people make decisions, so that they can grow and that they can become a better manager and kind of learn and not just be kind of a puppet. My first class, he had the ultimate power, and every move I made was kind of like Davis. I had to report, I had to do this, had to do that. But that boss transferred, and now I have a new boss who kind of lets me learn and kind of make my own decisions. I'm more accountable now because by making decisions, it's, you know, I have to be accountable for those. So there's a lot more, not more stress, but, you know, I can't just say, oh, you told me to do this, so it didn't work out. You know, it's your fault. You know, now it's like, you know what, I made the decision and I have to live with the consequence of it, you know, good or bad.
Yeah, and because like I think that McDonald could be saying to Davis, okay, so why does this need to happen that way? You know, I mean, and then that can go down from Davis to Green too. You know what? I mean, it's totally fair for Davis to be saying, what have you done? I can't tell if you are performing or if we should keep paying you or keep you on board if you haven't told me anything that you've done. There's nothing showing, you know, your progress. So how do you want to be paid if you're not going to say what you've done?
That's kind of why I kind of struggled with this case, because I'm like, I don't know, it might be my personality, but I'm like, I think Davis has every right to question what he's doing. You know, especially when he's leaving days early at certain in Florida. I think it's okay for the manager or the boss to know what's going on and question certain decisions. I think he could change his approach on you know, communicating with Green and letting him know expectations. But you know, I don't know. I didn't have that big of an issue with Davis. Any other insights?
Oh, Darren Fernandez out again.
Oh shoot. So what do you think people can do to be proactive in managing office politics, power conflict, or do you think they don't need to be, or do you think there doesn't need to be a role there and they just kind of self-govern themselves?
Well, optimally, I like the you manage yourself thing.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the main things in being proactive through all of that is the listening skill. right? So if you as a person let other people know that you're listening to them, whether it's a complaint or it's a, great plan or a suggestion, whatever it is, as long as you act like you're hearing what they're saying, then when you come back and ask a question, or when you say, hey, could we try something different, or no, that would be illegal. Then, I think that they're more willing to hear it because they felt like you heard what they said. And so the next time as it comes along, they're, they're willing to either come to you, or they know that you will at least give them a fair shake at things.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I don't know. I feel like there needs to be someone, because I don't think realistically, they can govern themselves. I think there needs to be someone that can kind of manage the mood, because you don't want it to get toxic, and then you lose your top performers to competitors. So I think you want to keep it a positive in a competitive environment. The gospel connections in this, I think some of the biggest ones are just communicating. I think other ones are what other? I didn't really think about the gospel in this. What other? I guess listening. I don't know. Did you have any spiritual revelations reading this case?
Trying to think now. I mean, there's, like you were saying, the communication, if that's open, you're going to receive answers. You're going to know what to do going forward, right? You're going to move forward in faith. There's that trust issue, right? That if Green was reporting where he was, and he was reporting back his numbers, even though he's going off on his own tangents, Davis theoretically would be more willing to let him spend his time doing those other things if he also knew for a fact that he was also hitting his numbers, and that his little side work that he's doing actually did make a difference because he was able to quantify it. He was able to show someone that's not with him how he's actually accomplishing things.
I think that's a key point that Davis is saying, is like, I don't even know if he cares that he's doing these side things. He's just like, let me know if there's progress, if you can quantify your results, not just say, oh, I had a good lead today. That doesn't really mean much at his level. I think that's a good insight. And then any connections between this case and this week's reading? I thought there were a few, or quite a bit, but I liked how it said that there has to be common ground. There's another part in there where it says that it takes the first year to really develop a relationship, and it takes a year to develop it, and it's not just a few month thing. So I think that Green and Davis can still work through it, but they need to have mutual expectations. I think Davis and Green are still not mutually agreeing on what needs to happen on performance goals, priorities, and roles. I think those are all kind of washed, and there's no real true direction for Green.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. To the conclusion. So this is kind of the after case, what happened. So after McDonald's February 5th, 2008 email, Green took the offensive against his boss. He crafted a series of memorandums, emails, reports, projections that exposed inaccuracies in creative forecasting. The Dable enabled Green to build some alliances with other marketing personnel who used the data to ultimately side with him. April 4th, it was announced that Frank Davis was being moved laterally to an undefined special project. However, Green's tactics were seen as overly brutal by many in the company, and although he won the battle against his boss, his career was irreparably harmed. McDonald's distanced herself from him. By July 2008, Green announced he was resigning from position to pursue full-time studies for an MBA. We can only speculate that this would have occurred if Green had not tried to help Davis work out the discrepancies and problems with forecasts. Perhaps both would have succeeded. So what do you think about the conclusion or the last paragraph?
So where did you get this?
So this was just part of the preparation for the group leader.
Oh, okay, for the group leader. Gotcha. I'm like, whoa, I do not even remember that. Like, and I totally missed all that part.
So yeah, this is just something that I had that I was supposed to read to you guys.
Well, I think that's the sad part right there. That last paragraph is Green might have ruined Davis in his own mind, but in reality, he ruined himself.
It seemed like they lost, or Green lost the purpose of working. He was working to get rid of Davis instead of working to improve the company and the end result, or the revenue for the business. And that's just a sour move and something that just doesn't build good relationships and a good working atmosphere if you think the guy next to you is actually taking notes on how to sink your ship. So I think that's very toxic and very dangerous.
Very toxic, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're all set there. Do we have 4 people in this group?
There's Evan Jensen is the 4th.
Okay. I gotta figure out what time we can all meet because I don't think we've all met yet, right?
No, I know last week we were saying that the what time is it? 10 o'clock on Mondays should work out. Who is it that has a class like right before and right after? Is that Evan?
I have one right before.
Okay.
I have it at 8 to 9. And then, but we'll go at 10, right? And then
yeah, that's where it's set. Fernanda, is that still good for you, the 10 o'clock on Monday mornings?
Maybe when I email this link, I'll ask them if 10 on Monday morning works.
Okay, so you can probably stop recording, right?
Yeah, I'll hit stop recording if I can get out.
So my thought is, just like you're looking for now, is, let's just figure out a time. I mean, I know for sure that like November 13th, I'm not going to be able to do it at that time. So I might just have to miss because I'll be at a training for work. So unless we know ahead of time to reschedule it with everybody, maybe you guys are able to do it later that day. But otherwise, I mean, if we just set the time and then we move forward, we'll at least know what to plan on. I don't know. Oh, he's gone. Fernanda, are you still okay with 10 o'clock on Monday? How do you feel about Monday morning, Fernanda? Oh, well, I think we're done, Fernanda. So maybe we'll just talk through email with everybody to confirm if Monday mornings are still the right time for everyone. Does that sound okay?
Yes, okay.
All right, sounds good. See you later.
See you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.